And I dropped my son over there and they said, "I'll come in." And then I just start
looking around,
open up the doors. And they went, "Oh, hang on, I'm not supposed to be doing
You're not
this."
getting a tour. Hello and welcome to The Moment. I've got a great podcast lined up for you today. Very soon I'll be joined by a very dear friend, an old friend who I've not only worked with but enjoy his company immensely, and he's got a lot going on. You could say he's having a moment himself, and it's not a senior's moment. His name is Tim Ross and he is a design and architecture buff / nerd. He's got a new book out all about icons of Australian design and a brand new podcast that he's been doing with his good friend Kevin McCloud, who you know from the television show Grand Designs. So lots going on with Tim. We have so much to discuss and also just basically catching up as well. So that's coming up. But I thought I'd delve into a couple of quick moments for you to keep you up to date before we head off into the end of the week and the weekend if you need some things to chat about when you go to any gatherings or functions over the weekend. This is some very good stuff I've got for you today. A bit of sad news to kick off the podcast today, but goodness me, she lived a great life, so I want to celebrate that. And that is waking up to the news that trailblazer and a woman who had a huge impact on the world, Jane Goodall, has died at the age of 92, and what a life she lived. She not only changed the way that we thought about chimpanzees, who she worked with very, very closely over the years, and apes as well, but she changed the way we perceived all animals in the animal kingdom, and I think that has had a huge impact on how we hopefully will treat animals and care for the earth as we move into the future. It's been great. This morning I've looked at lots of videos on social media where she's given some great advice on how she approaches life and her work, and it's actually quite inspirational. So if you do something today, go forth and look up some of Jane Goodall's videos speaking about how she understands the world to work and advice that she has for living. She's a wonderful human being. Oh, and if there is one video you absolutely must watch, that's the video where you see Jane and a bunch of her co-workers releasing a chimp who went by the name of Wounda. I think Wounda nearly died and they nursed Wounda back to life, and then she was to be released back out into the wild when she was ready. And this video, seriously, just search bar Jane Goodall releases chimp, and I've already cried today watching it. It is so, so beautiful. Wounda gets released and Wounda sort of heads off really quickly and then has a realisation, and that realisation is her relationship with the people who had cared for her. And before she heads off into the sunset, she turns around and comes back and hugs first one of the women who's been caring for her, and then that moment with Jane, I see I'm going to tear up now. It's so powerful. Wounda just sits and looks at Jane and they hug for, just a really extended time. Look, I can't even, yeah, really amazing. And I think never forget the impact you have, not just on other human beings around you, but the animals. Every animal has a part to play, and they're just as valuable as us, and this video shows that. Oh, I've got to get it together. Couple of other moments for you. Good news for Mariah Carey fans, although you may not like the style of music that she's delving into here. You might not know that Mariah Carey made a grunge album in the 90s. I think it was in 1995. The group was called Chick. The album that was recorded was Someone's Ugly Daughter, and there's already been a few videos online that you can search out already, but it hasn't ever had a full release because Mariah wanted to touch up the vocals, and she couldn't release it at the time with Sony because obviously it was the antithesis of what Mariah Carey was known for, which was vocal gymnastics and, that whistle and incredible pop diva. So it was the opposite of that, but I think she's ready. She brought it up in a conversation with SZA online. Looks like there might be a release of this album finally, years and years down the track. And I'm just hoping that this will herald a new era for Mariah, perhaps a more relaxed era, because she's been known to be quite high maintenance. I mean, that reality show where she actually had people who helped her put on her shoes, she probably didn't do her too much of a service in that department for not being known as a diva because, I mean, we all want that, don't we? But Mariah lives that life. And anyway, so this could be a return for Mariah to her grunge era herself. And I'm expecting perhaps more relaxed. A flannelette shirt would look good on Mariah, matched with some mockies, pair of mockies that she could scuff about in. It can be Mariah's CBF era. And if you don't know what CBF is, it's can't be funked. And I'm looking forward to that. You've probably been inundated since I announced here on The Moment, and I think I was one of the early ones, that Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman had split a couple of days ago, and I've been overwhelmed by the updates by people who purport to be experts in this situation. I'm at the point now where I'm literally yelling at the screen whenever someone professes to be an expert on Nicole and Keith. I mean, you don't know them. No, that's how I'm starting to feel. It feels a bit wrong and a bit intrusive that all these people have such serious opinions on Nicole and Keith. I do love it though, but they speak with such authority, and I think, no, you're not there in their bedroom when they're just bickering, having a fight over something that, all these little fights can lead to the end of a relationship for some people. And sometimes these fights are as small as maybe Keith didn't put the lid back on the toothpaste, so it's gone all hard at the top, and she was just sick of perhaps squeezing it up from the bottom, had enough. Or maybe Keith forgot to clean the cat litter and Nicole had asked him numerous times. That could have been it. Maybe it's not all these examples. And also, let's remember, none of our business too. People change, relationships change. They did 19 years, good on them, as I said the other day. And let's remember too that all of this noise about a couple that none of us know really is just theatre. It's theatre that sells newspapers, and look, I'm buying into it too. Theatre that creates clicks, and essentially Keith and Nicole this week are the Punch and Judy of our time, poor things. They'll weather the storm, no doubt, because this is their life that they live on a regular basis. But I did learn a couple of things that I found quite interesting from all these reports, and that was Nicole is apparently having her second teenagerhood. I've never heard of this term. Has anyone else? I've not heard of it. I'm just assuming it's because Nicole, like most of us of a certain age, has got on the old hormone replacement therapy and she just rediscovered her libido. I mean, if that's what it means, I don't know. That, or she's finally getting a good night's sleep and she's got the energy and time and enthusiasm for fun things, and we know what I mean by fun things. So maybe that's happened and maybe she's looked for it elsewhere, because it's very hard to enjoy fun things when you're resentful of things that aren't getting done around the home. So, yeah, enjoy that second teenagerhood, Nicole. Enjoy it. I also learnt too that Keith has got 4 tattoos that relate to Nicole, and this is always uncomfortable, especially if you're moving on to greener pastures. Johnny Depp fixed it when he was going out with Winona Ryder. Remember this from the 90s? I don't like to bring up Johnny Depp very often, but I will for this occasion. He got Winona Forever on his arm changed to Wino Forever. You can do that with tattoos. You can also get them removed. I think Keith's got a bit of work cut up for him though, because his are in prime positions and I'm not sure what he's going to do. One says baby girl on the neck. So, I mean, that could relate to anyone really, baby girl. So that's fine. You can leave that one alone. He's got Nicole on his bicep. Now, Nicole's a hard one. Nicole's not a word you can mess up too easily. And all I could think of was perhaps you could change it to Nicorette, to remind him to go and buy some patches on a daily basis so he won't take up the darts again during this period of change. And he's also got her middle name of Mary on his knuckles. And I think we could palm this one off on perhaps a rediscovery of a Christian faith, perhaps, Mother Mary. I'm trying to sort it out, Keith. But he's also got NMK on the inside of his wrist, and that's, of course, the initials for Nicole. But this was actually a cover-up of the previous girlfriend's name. So, Keith, you've got form. No more tattoos. I don't care who you meet. I don't care if you believe it's love. No more tattoos for you. That's all I've got today. Oh, and just quickly, Taylor Swift's album comes out in Australia 2:00 on Saturday. It's called Life of a Showgirl. If you didn't know about it, where have you been? But just a word of advice. I'm giving advice today to everyone. I think stores like Sephora and Mecca don't even bother opening on Saturday. Not worth it. Because the girlies won't be shopping. They'll be going through lyrics. They'll be getting emotional. They'll be talking on the phone to other girlies about all sorts of things, about the Easter eggs they've unveiled. So, yeah, advice for shops that sell any kind of product targeted towards girlies of all ages, really, but specifically probably from about 10 to 40. Don't bother. Take a day off on Saturday. You might as well. All right, hang about in just a tick. We'll catch up with my dear friend, Tim Ross. This week on The Moment, we are partnered with LifeChanger. Now, LifeChanger is an incredible organisation that works in the mental health space, in particular with young people, but also works with teachers and parents. And Scott Waters joins me now to tell us all about LifeChanger.
Morning, Myf. How are you?
I'm good. Scott, how do you do that? How do you give them the tools? Do you go through schools? Do you run programs? What happens?
We worked with 141,000 young people last year in Australia and New Zealand. And that's a combination of our interactive workshops where our facilitators are amazing at building rapport with young people. So they come in and run interactive workshops with kids from 10 to 18 years of age. We also support teachers. There's about 220,000 teachers in Australia. The number one thing that they really wanted in classrooms was the capacity to deliver youth mental health content that supports people. So we've got downloadable lessons that they now run. They run LifeChanger workshops. And then the final one that we've just got to last September, we had the Parent Connection Kit, really simple parent language. What conversation do you want to have at the dinner table or in the car, or what activities can you use at home to just keep that connection humming along?
Thank you so much, Scott, for taking a moment with me to explain all about LifeChanger. Now, if you'd like to partner up with me here on The Moment, then we are open to any kind of conversation. All the contact details will be in the show notes if you can find them. I can never find the show notes, but we'd love to partner with you. Come on board. I love this part where I get to talk to friends about, well, them having a moment. And it's not a bad moment. It's a moment of success and joy. And my next guest is a friend, and he is the moment at the moment, because he's got a book. It's called What a Ripper, and it's about beautiful objects of Australian design that we may not have appreciated before, but actually have a huge impact on not only who we were, but who we've become. And it's really beautiful and lots of fun stuff in there. And he's also got a podcast with Grand Design's Kevin McCloud, which is just a brilliant listen, and loads of other stuff as well. And we're just going to catch up. So, Tim, hello.
Hi, Myf.
You're having a moment.
I'm so having a moment. Because when you said to me before, it's like you're having a moment, like I thought, it's a good moment, because I thought I'm having a moment like, I can't find my car keys, so I'm just having one of those days.
No, they're called seniors moments, those ones.
Oh,
yeah, and I have those on the regular as well.
Shoot me now.
I know.
The other day, I was at the Commonwealth Bank.
You go to the bank?
Yeah, I had to go to the bank.
Oh.
To do something with my mum's estate. And I never go into the bank. And anyway, I thought there was going to be no one there. So I turned up, and there's people everywhere lining up to get in. And I'm like, oh, God, I've got tracksuit pants on. I've got no product in my hair. And I'm like, I look like I'm completely bewildered. It's like I'm thinking, I don't want to be here for 2 hours. My brothers have been at me to fill out this form. You've got to go into the branch. You can't do it online. So I'm standing out the front.
Yeah.
And there's like people everywhere. And this woman came out, and I just said, why are there so many people here? And she said, well, it's a bank. And I went, oh. And then she sort of looked at me all confused, and she said, oh, don't worry, come in with me. And I skipped the queue.
You jumped the queue.
Yeah, and
you
she
did
sat
the
me
chat and
down.
cut.
She sat me down like I was an old person.
Oh, my God.
And then she said to me, have you got the app? And I was like, I don't need the app. I don't really use this bank. I said, oh, no, I don't have the app. And then she said, would you like me to put it on your phone for you? And I went, oh, yes, please.
It's happened.
It's happened. I thought, I'm gonna go with this moment where someone thinks I'm 100.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we're close to it. We've been around a while.
Yeah, but that, like, in your mind, you're not that person.
No, in my mind, I'm 22.
And that will never change. And I think I saw this, a friend of mine did something yesterday where he was on Instagram with some people who are much younger. And he's like, in his mind, he's joking with these guys. Oh. And then he saw it back and he went, I'm like their dad now.
Well, the good thing about being like someone's dad, though, is that you bring a wealth of knowledge and experience and understanding to the world and your perspective, which is why you can come up with a beautiful book like this.
Look, there we go. Yeah, this is my moment.
This is your moment. It's a combination of the things that you grew up with in terms of Australia specifically, but this is relevant, I think, all over the world because this happens everywhere. There's cultural objects and things that we created within our community, our society, that you can draw from to see that had a huge impact on how we evolved as a country, but who you are as a person.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. And I one of the reasons, like having this book where you look at dolphin torches and stack hats and all these things, strange design objects. One of the things that struck me was that I'd been sort of curious about these things for a long time. Did an exhibition about 6 years ago, and it resonated then, but it seems to be having a moment.
Yeah.
And we're a little devoid of cultural touchstones at the moment. Globalisation changed a whole bunch of things. It gave us the ability to get anything we want whenever we want. So the idea of locally made things that we all know and understand and have a connection to are few and far between. And so we're yearning for something that we don't really understand that we're yearning for it, and it's just a cultural thing. And music's the most interesting indicator of it. And I remember when I did a talk years ago, I put up this photo of Daryl Braithwaite, and I was talking about how, all these boomers can't understand how kids were interested in horses. And I was going, why do they like Daryl Braithwaite?
That's the song, if you're not aware. Yeah. I don't know where you've been if you're not aware, but if they're not interested in horses, that's the way it's going to be, little darling.
And so why are they singing that at the end of the night? Why are they wanting that on playlists or something? Because it's a cultural touchstone, and it's not the greatest song in the world, but it's ours, even though it's not Australian.
It was written by
Quincy Jones or someone, isn't it, like that? Or no, Randy Newman?
No, I don't know. It's a woman. Anyway, I'm having a scene.
We'll insert that in. Yeah. You can tell everyone. Put it in the show notes. Not important, but Daryl Braithwaite didn't write it. But there's a yearning there. So okay, where is this moment? What is it? What is it that we're missing? And that's like music as a connector ceases to be. And even the ropiest songs that we listened to when we were kids meant something to us. And there's less than this because everything's splintered. Sort of rise of streaming as the algorithms, of course, have diluted Australian music, plus the death of record companies and all that sort of stuff. There's not songs from today that everyone knows that have just been released, or very few of them. So one of the reasons that the hottest 100 Australian songs of all time was so important to people is the idea of a banger. And what does a banger really mean? It's a cultural touchstone, Australian songs that we can all somehow have a collective response to.
It's collective response, but it's also collective memory.
Yeah, and sport is a huge part of that and always has been, but it's only a small part of our cultural makeup. And the things that we create in all ways, whether they're films, television, music or objects, are really important to us. And we somehow along the line, I think we've forgotten that.
Yeah. So what's the suggestion out of that? Do we need to go back to having a bit more faith and trusting that our individuality in terms of not just design but in terms of our ideas, and this is relevant in any country. We don't have to look to other places for something that's better.
No, we don't, but we don't have a say in that anymore.
No.
So unless someone gets a time machine and goes back a few years and blows up Temu, it's not going to happen. So
I blow it up just by being on it, Tim, because they go, do you want this? And you get free things, and then I'm in there for half an hour trying to stop it, and I can't. I hate it.
I've still not Temu'd, but that's not – I mean, choice is a wonderful thing. When we were starved for choice, and that's why we end up with wearing stubby shorts, if we could have bought anything off the internet, those fucking things would never have got a look in.
That is so true. And those 7 days in Rio undies.
Yeah. I mean, one of the ones I have in there is the whole
Not that they were in there, sorry.
But I should have put them in, is the hole proof computer sock. Right. They still make them. Same guy designed the Explorer sock, another classic Australian socks. And we don't talk about classic Australian socks anymore.
I never thought I'd be talking about that today.
Australian socks. But the hole-proof computer sock, and the whole idea was that they're engineered by a computer to
stay up.
That's
right.
They didn't even design them on a computer. The guy did it with a pen and a piece of paper and a pencil. Those things existed. Now they don't. that is simply progress. It's nice that we can have 20 different types of runners whenever we want, but the trade-off is that there's not a Dunlop KT26 doesn't come into our lives ever again that everyone goes, wow, I really want those runners, because, that's a change. So what does it mean to us? Like, there's a yearning for that. There's just a yearning for things that we can converse about. There's a yearning for our culture, no matter how sometimes lame it is. And it's okay, The stack hat is ours. It's a bit shit, but it's okay. Yeah. Like they're important to us because that's Christmas. That's Christmas Day. That's on your bike with your brothers and sisters out the front of the house.
Yeah.
And really important memories for us.
Totally.
So part of us of a certain age will yearn for simple things. And then we also get this really fascinating thing where there are younger people who are yearning for simpler things too.
Yes. Well, they're getting off the internet. They're keeping their lives private.
They're just knitting things and stuff, which is really good. But I like this. I saw some footage of one of these music festivals recently, and I thought it was from 10 years ago because all these kids have got these old digital cameras. Part of it's about trends, and there's this huge 90s revival going on. It's a shame we're not reaping the cash from that one. They're into the clothes but not the personalities from the 90s.
That's all right. We're too old for them. However, I'm very grateful that there were no cameras in the 90s because I wouldn't have a job now.
No, I mean, we've talked about this recently when we were looking at photos, in our 20s. We spent a lot of time hanging out in Melbourne around that period of time. And there was like one or two people that we knew that took photos. I remember when doing my first book and I was trying to find photos to fill it up. You go there's like 4 photos.
Yeah, I agree. When I had to come up with the middle bit where they have you got photos from your life, I struggled.
And they're also awful.
Yeah, they're terrible because you didn't get that chance to do 50 million takes. There was one and you'd be like this, or you'd have red eyes, or you'd be like,
And then we've learned to frame things properly in a way that we can never frame. And I had to take some photos recently we were at Hyder Hall for a show. I took photos for the people at the council like I was putting them on the grid. And I was like, oh, hang on a second, that looks, the lighting's not right. Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, just I made them Insta friendly. There's something wonderful about that. I'm also not a Luddite, and I think technology and being progressive is really important for us.
It is.
But we also have to understand we're in a time of mega theft. One of the curious things about putting a book together that has things from the more recent past is lots of those things aren't on the internet, like the fridge, which was, it's on the front cover of the book.
Genius.
It's like this. It's like a beanbag esky, like a little bag that you would carry. And there's almost no information about that anywhere.
No.
Like, it's just not everything's on the internet.
You could take your wine to the park and it would stay cool instead of getting hot.
Yeah. They're lovely little mum memories, People's parents had those. And so that's what my mum used to have one of those. Nan used to have one of those. But sometimes it's enough, I think, when it comes to an Australian design item. It's like, they weren't saving lives. They were just bins and beautifully designed bins, beautifully designed torches, whatever it was.
They were beautifully designed bins.
Yeah.
Those, what were they, the flip top?
The Nilex flip top bin, But I think there's something really important about if we're going to have, a bus stop or we're going to have a public rubbish bin, that they should be designed by someone. Designed by someone really good and designed really well, and so they're beautiful. Yeah. So when you're a little kid, and then you're putting your icy pop stick in something and you go, that's beautiful, and you don't really know at the time. It's the formative power of it.
It opens doors for your mind. And, sometimes the things that I think I grew up with didn't necessarily set me on the right path, but they certainly piqued my interest and I moved into areas. I became who I am because of it. I think my parents chose to live differently. Like, we lived in a tram for a bit and a converted tram and a mud brick house, and they're very conservative people. You've met them. But
conservative but artistic.
Yes, it's quite a contrast, but you could do that then. But I do believe that has instilled in me a desire to live differently, and that doesn't just have an implication in terms of where I live, but it's how I live. It gave me the courage, I think, to go with a bold idea, because we were in a regional town a long way from anywhere and everyone thought they were just absolutely bonkers. But that then gave me the courage to go, okay, I can do things differently and nothing bad comes of it. If anything, It's good. You've also got your podcast, though, with your mate Kevin McCloud, who you met through your design endeavours.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving
Thank
it.
you,
I'm
Myf.
listening
Yeah.
to it all. It's called Tim and Kev's Big Design Adventure.
Yeah, it's like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but it's a play on that, which is very topical.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Great that you pulled out a 90s movie.
We couldn't think of anything. It was going to be called Talkie Walkies, where we're going to walk around and talk about
Cute.
things. And then we thought, what happens if we stop walking around and talking about things? And so, yeah, even at the last minute, I mean, most people call it Big Design Adventure, I think.
Yeah. How did that friendship come about? Obviously, you both share a passion. He hosts Grad Designs and has a obviously passion for architecture and buildings and design. And you're in Australia. How did that happen? I don't even know that
It's a
story.
pen pals. No, so
That's cute.
there's a bit of that. So we met when I was putting together my first series for the ABC, and I interviewed him, and I think he'd probably been doing 20 interviews that day, and I was a bit more interested in talking about architecture I suppose in a different way, and someone had told him that I had a modernist house, so he was interested in that. And then he was in Australia doing Grand Designs Live or something, and I was like, well, maybe we can get Kev to be part of this, putting together a sizzle to try and get the ABC to commission it. And he kindly said yes, and we got on very well when we met. And we probably only chatted for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I went to the UK and interviewed him again for the show, and we just got on well. And he said, oh, look, if you ever come back, come and stay. I don't think he really thought I would
Come and stay. Because Australians love to just come and stay.
Yeah, and they
because we come from a long way away.
Yeah, and they just
when
been
we go on
polite to
holidays.
say, then they go, oh, actually.
And no one ever does, but here we do.
But I did. So,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and so I went out to his house and with my family, and then we've just ever since, every time I'd go to the UK or he came out, he did a show at the Opera House. I think when we did the show at the Opera House, a couple of shows at the Opera House together, we should do something more, and then COVID got in the way and life and whatever. And then over the last couple of years, we've been slowly putting bits and pieces together and finding the time to put together a podcast. And it's been a real joy to put together. I suppose I would never imagined 20 years ago that of all the things that I would have been doing, if someone said, oh, you're going to end up doing a podcast with Kevin McCloud one day, in 1997, I'd go, what are you talking about? Because I've always been a fan.
It's a documentation for me of friendship and ideas.
Yeah.
It's not set in stone in terms of what you cover. And I think one of the topics, because I listened to one of the episodes last night, and I was really surprised, and it talks to what this book does as well. It goes back to what you grew up with as having a huge impact on who you become. And one of the episodes is strangely about the guy who designed the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was gorgeous because those houses, those modernist homes are very much a part of our understanding of how it was to live glamorously and aspirationally as kids. But in fact, then it set Kev off on his own design adventure, and probably you and all of us.
Yeah, and that idea that the formative power of futurism is intense, and so many people watch telly as kids, and whether it was the Brady Bunch house or Bewitched or whatever it is, all of those things have an influence on us. Some more than others, and you go, I didn't notice that. My brothers, we grew up in the same house, and in the same neighbourhood, but they didn't watch houses being built.
They didn't. They don't have a memory of that.
I just didn't really notice, or they can't remember furniture that came into the house, or
Whereas you did.
Whereas I went, Dad came home with a early 1970s Grant and Mary Featherston lounge. Oh. I mean, my brothers knew what it was like to pick it up and chuck it at me.
Because it was soft.
It was
and
soft.
You could.
It was modular land. Yeah, it was foam. But Dad didn't really care when Mum threw it out or whatever. So we see the world in different ways. But, yeah, I think the longer we do the podcast, Kev and I can literally talk forever.
Yeah.
We'll get up when we're recording. We'll get up and start late, have breakfast at the hotel or whatever, and just talk. And then we just fucking talk all day.
So you're using work as an excuse to catch up, which is pretty much why I got you in here today too.
And then we go somewhere, and then
that's beautiful though. Why shouldn't you love what you do? Why shouldn't you have your friends along for the ride? Why shouldn't you?
And I think sometimes it's good. It's been good for me because his passion is unwavering and his enthusiasm is unwavering, and I find that really inspiring.
And it's not an act. Because I think a lot of people get to a certain point where they're just doing it because they have to and that's what they're known for. I never get that sense when I listen to Kev, nor you, that it's just you're doing it because that's what you're good at or known for. There is a genuine sense of appreciation.
I think the first time I really saw it in action with Kev was we were at Mona and there was an exhibition. I don't know whether they still have it, where they have these pens that draw on them.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in there just talking to a couple of randoms that had walked in, and they're like, "Oh, geez, Kev's talking to us about." Like, he's just generally interested.
Curious.
And he's so curious.
Curious about the world. Stay curious. It doesn't matter. Like, age is not real. I think the people who seem most relevant in their older age are those who stay curious.
Yeah, and he's got a far more technical mind than I have. That's good because that's what his role in the podcast is. I just do shit jokes.
I loved in one of the episodes when you went into there was a set of apartments that were all built around, very kind of close quarters by an English designer, and it was a beautiful episode talking about communal living and everything. But one of the things you said had nothing to do with it and made me laugh. You wanted to go and obviously do an interview with these people because of the way they lived was very special, and they were living amongst very beautiful design. And you said, look, if I'd just turned up, I don't want to paraphrase you, if I'd just turned up, that's lovely. But when you saw that Kevin was coming, they brought out the pastries.
Well, we went to this house in New Zealand, and I'd sort of put something on Instagram and said, "Oh, look, I'm going to be in Napier. Would love to sort of look for places to do shows or whatever it was." And I hadn't told her that Kevin was coming with us.
Oh God!
Because I didn't want her
to freak out.
Especially New Zealand, but. It was a small town, word got around anyway, and so she sort of knew anyway. But they didn't have weeks and weeks and weeks to worry about Kevin coming round to the house. Yeah,
and get anxious about it because everyone over the certain age is anxious anyway. We're all anxious.
No judgment in that environment. The only thing that we do, and both of us do, and I'm actually worse at it, is that like if you've got a 1960s house, I wouldn't do it to everyone's house, but I like looking at people's things. But I'm quite forensic about things, so I'll walk in and have a look around because people invite me around to see their homes all the time. And of course, when they invite
shows in
houses
homes,
and people will go, "Oh, you'd really like my house, if you're in Brisbane, come and see it." I go, "Okay, no problems." One of my youngest son's mates at school, their parents he lives in this quite cool 60s house, and I dropped my son over there, and they said, "Oh, come in." And then I just start
looking around,
open up the door. And they went, "Oh, hang on, I'm not supposed to be doing this.
You're not getting a tour.
I shouldn't be doing this." So I was like, "Oh, I better stop doing that
I can't
now."
help myself. If someone lives in an amazing old place, I want to look at it all. I want to look at how the cupboards work. I want to look at...
Of course you do.
I want to look at that the thought that went into all of that.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of it.
Yes.
And, don't invite us around, but I'm more likely... I'm probably less reserved about that than the way Kev is with it, that's for sure.
Oh, well, that's probably why you two are friends. Very different.
Yeah, it's same, but different.
Yeah, and it translates on the podcast. It's a really gorgeous listen, and
Thank you,
I'm
Myf.
Absolutely loving it. And
it's just a joy, and like the process. And that's the other thing. It's so important that everyone remembers this about what you do, is that process is so important. The creating, and it doesn't matter where you. It's like cooking. It's the act of cooking that gives us joy.
I love that. Oh, love talking to you, Tim.
Oh,
There's lots of other things I could have talked to you about, but we've got to go. We've got to go. We're busy lives.
You'll run it. There'll be another episode in 2 years' time. You go, "Fuck, can we get him in to talk about something else?" But he talked about the same stuff again. He'd forgotten that he'd already said that stuff about you and mine.
The whole podcast is just going to be what I've forgotten. I've done. Yeah. I'm sure, because that is my life now.
Yeah, thank you, Myf. It's lovely to chat.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you. Yeah, and I love the book too.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you.
This is an MIK made production, recorded on Gadigal land. Always was and always will be Aboriginal land.